Hello and welcome to this webinar on persuasive opinion argument non-fiction writing for years 10 and 11. This is about how to create convincing arguments, and we're looking at three approaches: moral arguments to convince your readers, or ethos; emotional arguments to convince your readers, or pathos; and logical arguments to convince your readers, or logos. Now we're thinking about moral arguments. Why would you use a moral argument to convince your readers? To show that you are trustworthy, that you are a credible person who has the same values, and appeal to their decent, ethical side. Now, you can do this by using counter-argument. Now, what is a counter-argument? A counter-argument is where you take an opposite viewpoint, you appreciate why people may think this, and then you explain why this is a weak or wrong or flawed view. And you can structure a counter-argument in three stages. First of all, you accept the viewpoint. You use phrases like, I understand why some people believe. I know that some people may argue. I can see why some people think. You're accepting the viewpoints. You sound very reasonable and you sound very moral. Then you explain the weaknesses. However, in reality, or this is only partly true, you may not be aware the truth of the matter. Now you're starting to really build on the argument, to explain in a rational way why it's a weak or flawed position. And then you would provide an alternative viewpoint. Let us consider. A better solution would be, I would argue. So you're showing really here that you're a moral, ethical person through your use of counter-argument. And what might it look like? Well, it might be something like this. I understand why some people might think that festivals are an ideal way to see live music. You're up close to the music and part of the action. However, the reality is that you stand for hours in a muddy field trying to peer over the head of millions of people in order to catch a glimpse of the stage. This is why it would be worth considering experiencing concerts in HD from the comfort of your own living room without wasting money or making yourself ill. Can you see how that sounds like a moral argument? You sound ethical, you sound as if you're reasonable, you sound as if you're someone who makes sense. How else can you appeal to your audience and make strong arguments? Well, you can use emotional arguments. These show that you are a passionate person and that they appeal to the sensitive, emotional side of your readers. And you can do this by using emotive language. Now, emotive language is when you deliberately choose words that evoke a strong emotional response. Now, if we're sticking with the theme of music festivals and why they aren't good, you can see this emotive response. It says, my heart breaks for music lovers everywhere who are condemned to a second-rate experience of gigs by attending overpriced festivals. So those words, condemned and overpriced, are really trying to make you think that this experience is horrific. Howling gales and bitter winds whip around them, and each new shower breaks any hope of these hardcore fans being able to enjoy a relaxing evening of music with their favorite band. So you've got these words like whipping and bitter winds, and you're talking about the weather, and this is emotive, really thinking about the environment that's not really conducive to music. Numb fingers and frozen toes freeze the love that they once had for live music. No one should be subjected to this misery. So you can see this emotive language is again showing this change of environment changes the way they feel about music. And that's really appealing to that passionate, emotional side of your audience or reader. Finally, let's think about logical arguments. These show that you are intelligent and they appeal to the rational side of your readers. And you can do this by using research. Now, what kind of research could you use? You could use three different types. You could invent or list a recent survey. So recently Childline carried out extensive research. So you're explaining that this is something that's proved through a survey. You could give expert opinions. Dr. John Kendall, Head of Educational Studies at the University of Oxford. You can see this as someone with credentials, someone who's an authority, and again, it's making you sound very logical, very intelligent. Or you could provide public opinion. Many parents, many teachers also feel, and they have said, the fact that you're stating different people's opinion, it makes you sound knowledgeable, it gives evidence, and it's appealing to that logical side of your audience. So this is how you can appeal and win these powerful arguments that are convincing, using ethos, showing your credibility, using pathos and an emotional argument, and using logos and showing logic. Thank you for joining me, and goodbye.